Hello and welcome to English in Fluency. I am Alex, and it is wonderful to have you here with us today. I want to start by asking you a question. Have you ever been so afraid of doing something wrong, so worried about making a mistake, that you decided not to do it at all? Maybe you wanted to ask a question in an English class, but you were afraid your grammar was wrong. Maybe you wanted to talk to a native speaker, but you were worried you would sound silly. Maybe you just wanted to try a new hobby, like painting or cooking, but you thought, I will be terrible at it. If you have ever felt this way, I want you to know that you are not alone. This feeling is one of the most common feelings in the world. It is the fear of failure. And today, we are going to talk about why this fear holds us back and how we can change our thinking. We are going to learn why making mistakes is not only okay, but is actually the only way to truly learn and succeed. This is a B1 English listening practice, so I will be speaking clearly and using language that you can understand. Your goal is just to listen, to relax, and to absorb the ideas. Let's begin. What does it really mean to be afraid of failing? It sounds simple, but it is actually a very deep feeling. For many of us, it starts when we are young. We are taught in school that the right answer gets a good grade, and the wrong answer gets a bad grade. We learn to connect mistakes with punishment, or with feeling stupid. So, as adults, we try to avoid mistakes at all costs. We develop something called perfectionism. Perfectionism is the belief that we must do everything perfectly. If we cannot do it perfectly the first time, we should not do it at all. This way of thinking is like a cage. It stops us from starting new things. It stops us from taking risks. It stops us from living. Think about it in terms of learning English. If you wait until you can speak perfect English before you ever have a conversation, you will never speak. It is impossible. Learning is a messy process. It is supposed to be messy. Let's imagine a story about this. Let's call our first character Maya. Maya works in an office, and she has a secret dream. She wants to be a great baker. She watches baking shows on television. She sees the beautiful cakes, the perfect bread, the delicate pastries. She thinks, wow, I would love to do that. She has a folder on her computer full of recipes she wants to try. But every weekend, she just looks at the recipes. She buys the flour, the sugar, the butter. The ingredients sit in her kitchen. The flour stays in the bag. The butter stays in the refrigerator. Why? Because Maya is a perfectionist. She is terrified of failing. In her mind, she imagines trying a recipe. She imagines the cake coming out of the oven, and it is flat, or burnt, or it tastes terrible. She imagines her family trying it and pretending to like it. The idea of this failure is so strong, so embarrassing in her mind, that it is easier to just not try at all. So, she doesn't bake. She just watches others bake and wishes she could do it. Her fear of making a mistake is more powerful than her dream of learning a new skill. This is exactly what happens with language. We have a dream. Our dream is to speak English fluently. We watch movies. We listen to podcasts. We see people traveling and connecting with others, all using English. We think, I want to do that. We buy the English course. We download the language app. We have the books. But we don't speak. We are afraid to open our mouths. We are afraid of the burnt cake. We are afraid of saying, I go to the store yesterday, instead of, I went to the store yesterday. We are afraid of someone correcting us. We are afraid of that feeling of embarrassment. So, we just listen. We just read. We stay in the safe zone. But speaking is a skill, just like baking. You cannot learn to bake by only reading recipes. You must get your hands dirty. You must mix the flour and the eggs. And you must be willing to make a bad cake. Now, let's think about a different way of looking at this. What if failure is not the end of the story? What if failure is just a part of the story? There is a famous idea in psychology called the growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes that our abilities are fixed. You are either smart or you are not. You are either talented at baking or you are not. When a person with a fixed mindset fails, like Maya imagining her burnt cake, they think it proves that they are not talented. They think, I failed, so I am a failure. But a person with a growth mindset believes something very different. They believe that our abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. They believe that skills are built, not just born. When a person with a growth mindset fails, they don't see it as the end. They see it as information. The failure is not who they are. The failure is a signpost, a teacher. It is telling them what they need to learn next. Let's go back to Maya. Imagine one day, her friend, let's call him Ben, encourages her. Ben says, Maya, just try it. What is the worst that can happen? You waste a little flour. Who cares? Just bake something. So, Maya finally decides to try. She picks the easiest recipe she can find, a simple chocolate cake. She reads the instructions very carefully. Cream the butter and sugar. Fold in the egg whites. Bake at 180 degrees. She tries her best. She puts the cake in the oven. She waits. The timer goes off. She opens the oven door and it's a disaster. The cake is flat. It's dark and burnt on the edges. But when she pokes the middle, it's still wet and gooey. It looks terrible. It smells strange. Maya's first feeling is that old, familiar shame. The fixed mindset voice in her head says, See? I told you. You are not a baker. You are terrible at this. You should just give up. She feels like crying. She feels like throwing the whole thing in the garbage. But then she remembers her friend Ben's words. What's the worst that can happen? She looks at the sad, burnt, gooey cake, and a different thought comes into her head. A growth mindset thought. Instead of I am a failure, the thought is, okay, that didn't work. It's a small change in words, but it is a huge change in meaning. I am a failure is an end. That didn't work is a puzzle. It's a problem to be solved. So Maya, instead of throwing the cake away, decides to become a detective. She starts to analyze the failure. Why did it burn on the edges but stay raw in the middle? Maybe the oven temperature was too high. The recipe said 180 degrees, but maybe her oven is different. Maybe it's hotter. That's a piece of data. What about the fold in the egg whites part? She wasn't sure what fold meant, so she just stirred them really fast with a spoon. Maybe that was wrong. She takes out her phone and looks up a video. How to fold egg whites. She watches the video and sees a very gentle, slow, lifting motion. Oh, she thinks, I didn't do that at all. I just beat them. That's another piece of data. The cake was flat because she knocked all the air out. Do you see what is happening? Maya is not crying. She is not giving up. She is learning. The burnt cake is not a symbol of her failure. It is her first, most important teacher. The cake is giving her feedback. It is saying, your oven is hot, and you need to learn to fold. This is 1,000 times more valuable than just reading a recipe book. She has practical, real-world information. So, What does she do? She throws away the burnt cake. And the next day, she tries again. This time, she turns the oven down just a little bit, to 170 degrees. And when it's time for the egg whites, she remembers the video, and she folds them in gently. She puts the new cake in the oven. She waits. The timer goes off. She opens the door, and it's a cake. It's a real cake. It's not perfect. It's a little bit lopsided, a little uneven, but it's cooked all the way through. It's not burnt. She lets it cool, she cuts a small piece, and she tastes it. It's good. It's actually good. The feeling she has in that moment is 1,000,000 times better than the feeling of safety she had when she was just reading recipes. It's the feeling of accomplishment. It's the feeling of growth. This process is the secret. It is the secret to learning anything. It is the secret to learning English. We must be willing to make the burnt cake. We must be willing to say the sentence wrong. We must be willing to sound silly. And when we do, when someone corrects us, or when we just know we made a mistake, we must learn to silence the fixed mindset voice that says, "You are stupid." We must instead activate the growth mindset detective. We must ask, "Okay, that didn't work. Why?" Let's take our English example. You say, "I go to the store yesterday." Your teacher or your friend gently says, "Oh, you mean you went to the store yesterday?" The old fixed mindset feels shame. "Oh no, I made a mistake. I am so bad at English." But the new growth mindset feels curiosity. "Oh, went. Why went?" "Ah, because yesterday is the past. Go is the present. Went is the past. I need to use the past tense verb. That's it. You have analyzed the data. You have learned the rule. The mistake was not a failure. The mistake was a lesson. It was a free, personalized English lesson, perfectly timed for what you need to learn right now. Let's think about another character. We have Maya, the baker. Now let's think about Ben. We met Ben briefly. He was the friend who encouraged Maya. Let's learn more about him. Ben has his own dream. Ben works as a salesperson, but he wants to learn how to code. He wants to build websites and create apps. This is a very difficult skill. It's like learning a brand new language, but for computers. Ben starts an online course. At first, it's easy. This is HTML. This is how you make text bold. He feels good. He feels smart. Then, he gets to the first real programming language, maybe JavaScript. And suddenly, it's very, very hard. The course asks him to write a simple program, maybe a small calculator. Ben writes the code, following the tutorial exactly. He types it all out. He feels proud. He clicks the Run button, and nothing. The screen is blank. Or, even worse, a bright red error message appears. Error. Unexpected token on line 34. Ben's heart sinks. It's the same feeling Maya had. The feeling of, "I am not smart enough for this." He looks at line 34. The code looks perfect to him. He cannot see any mistake. He tries again. Same error. He tries again. Same error. He feels frustration. He feels anger. He wants to close the laptop and go watch television. The fixed mindset voice is telling him, "You are not a computer person. You are not a tech guy. You should just stick to sales." This is a critical moment. This is the moment where most people quit. They hit the first real wall, the first real failure, and they turn around. But Ben, because he is a growth mindset person, takes a deep breath. He tells himself, "Okay, the computer is not angry at me. The error message is not insulting me. It is just information. It is data. It is the burnt cake." So, Ben becomes a detective. Unexpected token on line 34. He still doesn't understand. He copies the error message. He pastes it into Google. He finds a website, a forum for other programmers. Someone else had the exact same error, and someone else had answered. The answer says, "This usually means you missed a semicolon at the end of the previous line, line 33. A semicolon? Ben looks back at his code. He looks at line 33, and there it is. Or, rather, there it isn't. He missed a tiny, tiny punctuation mark, a little dot and a comma. He adds the semicolon. He holds his breath. He clicks, run, and it works. The calculator appears. He can click 2 plus 2, and it says 4. Ben shouts, "Yes!" in his empty room. He feels like a genius. He feels like he just solved the world's hardest puzzle. Now, let's analyze this. What did Ben learn? Did he just learn that he needs a semicolon on line 33? Number. He learned something much, much more important. He learned how to solve a problem. He learned that an error message is not a stop sign, it is a map. He learned that he can find the answer. He learned that failure is just a bug, and bugs can be fixed. This process made him a better programmer than the tutorial did. The failure taught him the real skill. The real skill is not typing the code. The real skill is debugging, or finding and fixing the mistakes. The next time Ben gets an error, he won't want to quit. He will feel a little thrill. He'll think, "Ah, a puzzle. Let's solve it." He is building resilience. He is learning to be comfortable with being confused. He is learning to fail over and over again, and to see it as progress. This is the mindset we need for English. When you are listening to a podcast like this one, and you suddenly realize you didn't understand the last 30 seconds, what is your reaction? Do you panic? Does the fixed mindset voice say, "You are so bad at listening, you will never be fluent"? If it does, you get stressed. And when you are stressed, your brain shuts down. You understand less. You miss the next 30 seconds, too. It's a spiral of failure. But what if you use the growth mindset, the Ben mindset? You miss 30 seconds. You take a breath. You think, "Okay, I got lost. Let me just refocus on the next sentence. I don't need to understand 100%. Let me just try to catch the main idea." You relax. Your brain opens up again. You start to pick up words. Maya, cake, mistake, learn. You think, "Ah, okay." We are still talking about the story. I am back on track. You didn't fail. You just hit a bug. And you debugged your own listening. Or let's think about writing. Your teacher asks you to write a 200-word essay about your weekend. You write it. You are proud of it. Your teacher gives it back, and it is covered in red ink. Red marks on your grammar. Red marks on your spelling. Red marks on your vocabulary. The fixed mindset reaction is deep shame. My teacher thinks I am stupid. I hate writing. I am terrible at English. The growth mindset reaction is curiosity. You look at the red marks. Okay, so I wrote "goed" again. My teacher corrected it to "went." I need to remember that. Ah, and I spelled beautiful wrong. B-E-A-U-T-I-F-U-L. Okay, I will write that down 5 times. Each red mark is not an insult. It is a gift. It is a precise, personalized lesson. Your teacher has given you a map showing exactly where your English is weak. This is not failure. This is the fastest way to learn. The person who gets a perfect essay with no red marks, maybe they are not learning. They are staying in their safe zone. The person with the red marks, the person who uses those red marks to study, that person is growing. That person is Maya, pulling the second, better cake out of the oven. So, The first step is changing our mind about failure. Failure is data. Failure is information. Failure is a teacher. It is not a judge. It is not the end. But this is not always easy. The feeling of failure is still painful. The embarrassment is real. The frustration is real. So, how do we handle the emotions of failure, even if our mind knows it's good for us? The answer is to start small. We need to build our failure muscle. We need to build resilience. You don't build resilience by trying to climb Mount Everest on your first day. You will fail, and you might give up forever. You start by walking up a small hill. Maya did not try to bake a 5-level wedding cake for her first attempt. She tried a simple chocolate cake. And she failed. And she tried again. And she made a better cake. This is a small win. These small wins are incredibly important. They are the fuel that keeps you going. Let's go back to Maya. She made her one good cake. She feels great. The next weekend, she decides to try again. This time, she wants to make cookies. She follows the recipe. She puts them in the oven. And she burns them. The bottoms are all black. The fixed mindset voice might come back. See? The cake was just luck. You are still a bad baker. But Maya's failure muscle is a little bit stronger now. She doesn't panic. She thinks, okay, detective time. Why did they burn? Ah, the recipe said to put them on the middle rack. I put them on the bottom rack, closer to the heat. That's why the bottoms burned. Data, information. She throws away the burnt cookies. She makes the recipe again. This time, she uses the middle rack. The cookies come out perfectly. She has another small win. She has now failed twice. And she has learned 2 important things. She is building her knowledge, one mistake at a time. Let's check in on Ben. He got his calculator to work. He's feeling great. His course now asks him to build a small website. He has to make a button. And when you click the button, the background color of the page changes. He writes the code. He clicks the button. Nothing happens. No error message this time. Just nothing. This is almost worse. This is a silent failure. Ben is frustrated, but his failure muscle is also stronger. He doesn't want to quit. He thinks, okay, detective time. The bug is somewhere. He starts to test. Does the button work at all? Let me make it show an alert. He changes the code. The alert works. Okay, he thinks. So the button is working. The problem is with the color-changing part. He has narrowed down the problem. He looks at his color-changing code. He reads it again, and then he sees it. He wrote the name of the function wrong. He wrote change color, but the function was really called set new color. A tiny, tiny spelling mistake. He corrects it. He clicks the button. The background changes to blue. He has another small win. He is building his resilience. This is the process, over and over and over. This is what it means to learn. It is a cycle of try, fail, analyze, adjust, try again. It is not a straight line from bad to good. It is a messy, looping spiral. Each time you fail and analyze, you spiral up a little bit. You are a little bit smarter, a little bit more skilled. The next time you speak English, you will make a mistake. Maybe it will be the same mistake. You will say, "Goed" again. You will feel frustrated. Why do I keep making this mistake? But maybe the third time, just as you are about to say "Goed," your brain will stop you. A little red light will flash in your mind. You will pause, you will remember, and you will say, "Went." And in that moment, you will have had a huge victory. That victory was only possible because you made the mistake the first 2 times. You had to fail to create the pathway in your brain. You had to burn the cake to learn how to bake. So, what is the practical advice? How do we start doing this today with our English? I want you to give yourself permission to fail. I want you to actively look for small, safe opportunities to make mistakes. Let's call this failure practice. For example, your failure practice for this week could be to send one text message in English to a friend. Just one. Maybe you will make a spelling mistake. Maybe your grammar will be weird. That's okay. The goal is not to write a perfect message. The goal is to send the message. The goal is to do the thing you are afraid of. Or, here is another one. Next time you are in a shop or a cafe, try to say hello and thank you in English. Maybe you are afraid of your pronunciation. Maybe you will say thank you instead of thank you. That's okay. That is the burnt cake. You are practicing. You are building the muscle. Here is another bigger failure practice. Find a language exchange partner online. Someone who wants to learn your language and you want to learn theirs. Plan a 5-minute conversation. Just 5 minutes. It will be scary. You will search for words. You will make grammar mistakes. You will pause. It will be awkward. It will be a failure. But it will also be a success. Because you did it. And after the 5 minutes, you can analyze. What was the hardest part? I really struggled to find the word for yesterday. I will study that. You have just used your failure as a perfect study guide. The next time you talk, you will be prepared for the word yesterday. You will be a little bit stronger. Let's think about Maya and Ben one last time. Where do their stories go? Maya keeps baking. She fails at bread. It doesn't rise. She analyzes. Her yeast was old. She fails at frosting. It's too sweet. She analyzes. She needs to add salt. She fails and fails and fails. And with every failure, her skills grow. A year later, her kitchen is full of beautiful bread. Her cakes are famous among her friends. She is no longer a person who wants to bake. She is a baker. She became a baker not by avoiding failure, but by embracing it. She became a baker by eating a lot of burnt cakes. And Ben? He keeps coding. He fails to connect to a database. He fails to make his website look good on a phone. He fails and fails. With every bug, he Googles, he reads, he learns. A year later, he has built a fully working, beautiful website for his sales team. It helps them organize their clients. His boss is amazed he gets a promotion. He is no longer a person who wants to code. He is a programmer. He became a programmer not by being smart, but by being resilient. He became a programmer by patiently fixing hundreds of syntax errors. Their stories can be your story. Your English learning journey is the same. Right now, you might just be a person who wants to speak English. You are Maya, looking at the recipes. You are Ben, looking at the first tutorial. You are afraid of the burnt cake, afraid of the error message. What I am telling you today is make the burnt cake, run the code, and get the error. Go out and speak. Say the wrong word. Use the wrong grammar. Forget the vocabulary. Have the awkward conversation. And then, when you do, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to be kind to yourself. I want you to silence that fixed mindset voice. Do not say, I am stupid. Do not say, I am a failure. I want you to take a deep breath and say, that was interesting. I failed. Now, what did I learn? This is the entire journey. It is a journey of kindness, curiosity, and courage. The courage to try, the curiosity to analyze, and the kindness to forgive yourself when you fail, and to try again. This is what we are all about here at English in Fluency. We are not a channel for perfect English speakers. We are a community for English learners. We are a community of people who are not afraid to fail. We know that every mistake is a step forward. Every syntax error is a sign of progress. Every burnt cake is a lesson learned. So, I have a challenge for you. A failure practice for all of us. I want you to use the comments section below this podcast. I want you to write 1 or 2 sentences in English. Tell us about a mistake you made recently. It could be an English mistake or any mistake. And then, tell us what you learned from it. Do not worry about perfect grammar. Do not worry about perfect spelling. We are not here to judge. We are here to practice. We are here to share our failures and to celebrate the learning that comes from them. This is a safe place to make mistakes. And I really want to talk more about this. We have talked about the internal fear, like Maya's perfectionism, and the technical fear, like Ben's coding errors. But there is another kind of fear. Perhaps it is the biggest fear of all for English learners. And that is the social fear. The fear of what other people will think. This is not just the fear of making a mistake. It is the fear of making a mistake in front of people. It is the fear of being judged. The fear of people laughing. The fear of someone thinking you are stupid or not good enough. This fear is powerful. It can freeze us, even more than our own perfectionism. Let's imagine a new character. Let's call him Samuel. Samuel is a very kind and thoughtful person. He works in a library, he loves books, and he is very good at his job, which is mostly quiet. But Samuel has a secret desire. He wants to be able to speak in public. He doesn't want to be a famous speaker, but he wants to join a local community group, a theater club, or maybe a book club where people share their ideas. He wants to be able to stand up and share his thoughts clearly and confidently. But his fear is immense. It is a physical, powerful fear. The very idea of standing in front of 10 people. His hands start to sweat. His stomach feels sick. His mind goes completely blank. For months, Samuel just thinks about joining. He looks at the website for the local public speaking club. They meet every Tuesday. He tells himself, "Next Tuesday, I will go." But when Tuesday comes, he feels sick. He thinks, "Oh, I have too much work to do." Or, "It's raining, I should just stay home." He finds an excuse every single time. His fear of social failure is so strong, it stops him from even trying. This is a very common feeling for language learners. We want to join the conversation, but the fear of judgment, the fear of social failure, makes us stay quiet. We choose the safety of silence, even though we are unhappy with it. Finally, after missing 8 Tuesdays in a row, Samuel feels a different, new feeling. He feels angry. He feels angry at himself. He thinks, "Am I going to be afraid forever? I am tired of this." This anger gives him a little bit of energy. It is just enough energy to push him out the door. The next Tuesday, he doesn't think. He just moves. He walks to the community center. His heart is beating so fast. Thump, thump, thump. He thinks he might be sick. He opens the door. He walks in. He sits in a chair in the back, hoping no one will talk to him. The meeting starts. It's a small group, maybe 12 people. They are all very friendly. They introduce themselves. Then, the leader of the group an older woman named Clara, says, "And we have a new guest. Samuel, would you like to stand up and just tell us your name and why you are here?" Samuel feels all the blood drain from his face. This is his worst nightmare. He didn't think he would have to speak on the first day. He stands up. His legs are shaken. He opens his mouth. And nothing. Just a little, "ah." He can feel everyone looking at him. He knows they are waiting. He feels so foolish. His face is burning red. He manages to say, I am Samuel. I like books. I want to practice speaking." He then sits down, very, very fast. He feels terrible. He feels like a complete idiot. He thinks, "I am never coming back." That was a disaster. For the rest of the meeting, Samuel doesn't hear anything. He is just sitting in his own shame. He is replaying that moment over and over. "I sounded like a child. They all think I am stupid. They are probably laughing at me." When the meeting ends, he runs for the door. But Clara, the leader, stops him. She puts a gentle hand on his arm. She has very kind eyes. She says, "Samuel, you did a very brave thing today." Samuel is confused. He says, "What? No, I was terrible. I am so embarrassed. I am sorry." Clara smiles, a very small, wise smile. She says, "You were not terrible, Samuel. You were new, and you were scared. There is a very big difference." Samuel just looks at her. Clara continues, "The first time you do anything difficult is scary. But you did it. You stood up. You spoke. You faced the fear. That is the only goal for the first day. You did not fail, Samuel. You succeeded." Samuel does not believe her, but her kindness makes him pause. He asks, "But everyone else was so good. They were so confident." Clara laughs a little. "Do you think they were born that way? David, over there, the man who gave that wonderful speech about gardening? When he first came, he shook so hard he dropped his notes. Every single person in this room started exactly where you are. The only difference between you and them is time. They have just failed more times than you have. They have practiced being scared, and they have learned that it's okay. This is a very important idea. When we see someone speak in English fluently, or giving a confident speech, or baking a perfect cake, we only see the result. We do not see the hundreds of failures that came before. We don't see the burnt cakes. We don't see the error messages. We don't see the moments in front of a mirror. We compare our beginning to their middle or their end. And that is not fair. It is not a fair comparison. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Clara gives Samuel a challenge. She says, "Don't come back next week and try to give a perfect speech. That is too much. Here is your goal for next week. Just come back. Just walk through the door and sit down. That is your win. And if you feel brave, maybe you will say hello to the person next to you. That's it. This is the start small principle." Samuel's fear is huge. He cannot fight it all at once, but he can fight a small piece of it. He can win by just showing up. So, Samuel goes home. He feels a little bit better. He is still embarrassed, but Clara's words gave him a new perspective. Maybe he didn't fail. Maybe he just had a very difficult first try. He spends the week thinking about it. On Tuesday, he feels the fear again. Don't go. It will be terrible again. But this time, he has a different voice in his head, Clara's voice. Just show up. That is the win. So, he goes. He walks in. He sits down. He feels proud. He won. He smiles at the person next to him. She smiles back. This is a small victory. Samuel keeps going. For a month, he just sits and listens. He is building his failure muscle, his resilience, just by being in the scary place. He is learning that no one is laughing. No one is judging. They are just a group of people, all trying to get better. Then, Clara gives him a new, small challenge. Next week, Samuel, you will be the timer. Your job is to hold this little bell. When a speaker's time is finished, you ring the bell. That's it. You just have to ring a bell. This seems silly, but it is very smart. Samuel does it. He rings the bell. He is participating. He is part of the meeting. Another small win. Finally, the day comes when there is a small 1-minute speech topic. What is your favorite hobby? Everyone has to speak for 1 minute. Samuel is terrified, but Clara has been helping him. She gave him advice. She said, Samuel, your failure on the first day was trying to be perfect. You were searching for the right words. This time, don't try to be perfect, and do not memorize a script. Just think of 3 main ideas. What is your hobby? Books. Why do you like it? They are quiet. What is your favorite book? Just 3 points. Samuel's turn comes. He stands up. He is shaking. But it is less than the first time. He looks at his 3 words on a small card. Books, quiet, favorite book. He takes a breath. And he speaks. He says, my favorite hobby is reading books. I like them because they are quiet. And my job in the library is quiet. I like to read history. My favorite book is about ancient Rome. He finishes. It was 50 seconds. It was not a perfect speech. He said quiet twice. He paused. He said, but. He did it. He stood up, he spoke for a minute, and he sat down. The group claps. He looks at Clara. She is beaming. He feels amazing. It is the same feeling Maya had when she tasted her first good cake. It is the feeling of growth. What did Samuel learn? He learned what Ben learned. The problem is not failure. The problem is not having a strategy for failure. His first failure was because he had no plan. He was just trying to be good. His second successful speech was because he had a strategy. The strategy was 3 points, not a perfect script. This is so important for English conversations. When you try to have a perfect, memorized conversation, you will fail. It's too rigid. It's like Samuel's first speech. But if you have a strategy, I will just listen for the main idea, or I will just ask one why question. Then you can succeed. You are giving yourself a small, achievable goal. You are practicing the skill of conversation, not the perfection of it. This story also teaches us about another related feeling. It is a very common feeling among high achievers and learners. It is called the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is that feeling that you are a fake. It is the feeling that your success is just luck. It is the fear that any minute now, someone will discover that you are not as smart, or as talented, or as fluent as they think you are. You feel like an imposter, like an actor who is pretending. Let's imagine Maya, the baker. She has been baking for a year now. Her cakes are wonderful. Her friends ask her to bake for their parties. She even wins a small local baking competition. Everyone tells her, Maya, you are an amazing baker. How does Maya feel? You might think she feels proud. And she does. But deep inside, a little voice whispers, it was just luck. The recipe was easy. The other bakers were not very good. I am not a real baker. I'm just faking it. That is the imposter syndrome. Or let's think about Ben, the programmer. He got a promotion. He is now building important things for his company. But when he is in a meeting with other programmers and they use a word he doesn't know, he doesn't ask. He just nods. He is terrified. He thinks, "Oh no, everyone knows that word. I don't. They are all real programmers. I am just a fraud. I am going to be found out. They will realize I am just a salesperson who got lucky." That is the imposter syndrome. This is extremely common for English learners. You study for years. You pass your B1 exam. Your certificate proves you are a B1 speaker. Then you meet a native speaker. You try to have a conversation, and you miss a word, or you don't understand a joke, or you make a simple grammar mistake. The imposter syndrome voice shouts in your head, "See? You are a fake. You are not B1. You are just a beginner. You fooled the test, but you can't fool a real person. You are an imposter." This feeling is terrible. It makes you want to hide. It makes you want to stop trying. What is the connection between imposter syndrome and the fear of failure? They are family. They are very close. The fear of failure is what stops you from starting. The imposter syndrome is what stops you from continuing after you have had some success. It is the fear that your past success was an accident, and your next failure will expose you as a fraud. So, how do we fight this? How did Clara, the public speaking coach, help Samuel? How can we help ourselves? The first step is to name it. Just knowing the name imposter syndrome is powerful. You can say to yourself, "Ah, I am feeling like a fake." This is not a fact. This is a feeling. This is the imposter syndrome. This gives you distance from the feeling. You are not the feeling. You are the person observing the feeling. The second step is to talk about it. This is what Clara did. After Samuel's first 1-minute speech, he told her, "I still feel like I was just pretending. I was so scared." And Clara shared her own secret. She said, "Samuel, I have been leading this group for 20 years. I have given hundreds, maybe thousands of speeches. And I will tell you a secret. Every single time, just before I stand up, I feel sick. I think, I am going to forget everything. They are all going to think I am a fraud. Every single time. The feeling doesn't go away. I have just learned to see it as a friend. I say, 'Ah, hello, fear. You are here again. That means I am about to do something important. Thank you. Now, please sit quietly in the corner, because I have a speech to give.'" This is an amazing piece of wisdom. Successful people do not lose the fear. They do not lose the feeling of being an imposter. They just learn to act anyway. They have learned that the feeling of fear and the action of doing are two separate things. You can feel terrified, and you can still give the speech. You can feel like a fraud, and you can still write the code. You can feel like a beginner, and you can still speak English. You do not have to wait for the fear to go away. Let's do a little practice. I want you to think about a time you felt like an imposter. Maybe it was in your job, in your family, or with your English. That feeling. Can you remember it? That feeling of, "I don't belong here. I am not good enough." Now, I want you to practice what Clara does. I want you to talk to that feeling. You can say, in your mind, "Hello, imposter syndrome. I see you. You are here because I am trying something hard. You are here because I am growing. Thank you for the signal. Now, I am going to keep going." This is how you take the power away from the feeling. You are not fighting it. You are acknowledging it. And then you are moving forward. The third step to fighting imposter syndrome is to focus on facts, not feelings. Your feeling is, "I am a fake." What is the fact? The fact is, You are listening to this podcast in English. That is a fact. The fact is, you understood the story of Maya. You understood the story of Ben. You are understanding the story of Samuel. That is not luck. That is not faking it. That is skill. That is work. You have to collect this data. Collect your small wins. When you feel like an imposter, you need to pull out your list of facts. Fact: I learned 10 new words this week. Fact: I had a 2-minute conversation. Fact: I wrote a comment in English. These facts are the truth. The feeling of being an imposter is just noise. Let's go back to our main idea. We must not be afraid to fail. We have seen that failure is data, like with Ben's code. We have seen that failure is a teacher, like with Maya's cake. And now, with Samuel, we have seen that failure is the price of courage. You cannot be brave unless you are afraid. Samuel's failure on his first day was actually his bravest moment. It was the moment he chose to face his biggest fear. His success later, his 1-minute speech, was easier than that first failure. This is a new way to think. What if the failure itself? The moment you try, and it goes wrong. What if that is the victory? Because it means you are in the arena. You are not sitting safely in the stands, just watching. You are trying. And that is what learning English is. It is choosing to be in the arena. Every time you try to speak, you are being brave. Every time you make a mistake, it is proof that you are trying. It is proof that you are not an imposter. Imposters don't try. Imposters don't make mistakes. They hide. You are not hiding. You are here. You are listening. You are learning. The mistakes are your badges of honor. They are the proof that you are on the journey. Now, I want to talk about another kind of failure. We have talked about personal failure, but what about failing fast? What about failing in a team? We have seen how perfectionism can stop us. Maya wanted the perfect cake, so she didn't start. Samuel wanted to be the perfect speaker, so he stayed home. This desire for perfection, it wastes our most valuable resource. It wastes time. Let's think of a new story. Let's imagine 2 friends. We'll call them Ravi and T-shirt. Yes, his nickname is T-shirt because he always wears funny T-shirts. Ravi is the idea person. T-shirt is the building person. They have a big idea. They want to create a new language learning app. They are both learning Japanese, and they are frustrated. Ravi says, all the apps are boring. They are just flashcards. We should make an app that is a game. A big, exciting adventure game, like a video game. And you learn Japanese by playing the game. T-shirt loves the idea. Yes, it will be huge. They are very excited. And they are also perfectionists. They have a fixed mindset about their product. They believe it must be perfect before they show it to anyone. They are afraid to fail. They are afraid that if they show someone a bad version, that person will say, "This is a stupid idea," and that would be a failure. So, they decide to work in secret. They will build the entire game, every level, every character, all the artwork, all the sound. It will be perfect. And then they will launch it, and they will be millionaires. So, they start working. T-shirt codes every day. Ravi writes the story for the game. It is very complicated. They work for months. 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. They don't tell anyone. It is their big secret. After 6 months, they have a meeting. T-shirt is tired. "Ravi," he says, "this is so much work. We have only built level 1. The game is still not fun. It's kind of boring. And I've been coding for 6 months. Ravi is also tired. I know. But we have to keep going. It has to be perfect. They are not having fun anymore. They are trapped by their own idea of perfection. Now, let's pause this story. Let's imagine a different story. A growth mindset story. Ravi has the idea. Let's make a game. T-shirt loves it. But T-shirt says, okay, but building a whole game will take years. How do we know if it's a good idea? How do we know if people want this? Ravi is annoyed. Of course they want it. It's a great idea. But T-shirt says, let's test it. Let's fail fast. Let's try to fail this week. Ravi is confused. Why would we want to fail? T-shirt explains, because if the idea is bad, I want to know now. I do not want to know in 6 months. I do not want to build a burnt cake for 6 months. Let's find out if the oven is hot today. So, what do? They don't write any code. They don't build anything. T-shirt takes a piece of paper. He draws the game. Just a few simple boxes. A start button. A picture of a character. A multiple-choice question in Japanese. He draws 6 pictures. This is their app. It takes him 1 hour. Then, they go to the university library. They find 5 students who are studying Japanese. Ravi says, "Hi, we are building a new app. Can we show you?" It's not finished. It's just a drawing. They show the first student the paper. The student looks at it. Okay, so I click Start. T-shirt points to the next drawing. Okay, now you are in a forest. A fox asks you a question. A, B, or C? The student looks at it and says, this is confusing. Why is a fox asking me a question? And this question is too easy. They show the second student. The student says, I hate video games. I just want flashcards. Do you have flashcards? They show the third student. The student says, this is cool, but I can't read this text. The color is bad. In one afternoon, in just 2 hours, Ravi and T-shirt have failed 5 times. Their perfect idea wasn't so perfect. One person was confused. One person wanted something different. One person couldn't read the text. This is amazing data. This is the best burnt cake in the world. They go back to their apartment. Did they fail? Yes. Are they sad? No. They are excited. T-shirt says, wow, we were going to spend 6 months building something confusing. We just saved ourselves 6 months. Now, they have information. They have data. They sit down. Okay, Ravi says, Lesson 1. The fox is confusing. We need a simpler story. Maybe just a friendly teacher. T-shirt says, Lesson 2. Some people, like Student 2, just want flashcards. Maybe our app needs 2 modes. A game mode and a study mode. Ravi says, Lesson 3. We need to be careful with colors. We learned that today, not after I designed 100 levels. Do you see the difference? In the first story, Ravi and T-shirt are in perfection prison. They are working for 6 months, hiding, afraid to fail. They are probably building something that nobody wants. In the second story, they failed in one afternoon. And that failure gave them the exact map they needed to build a good product. This is called failing fast. The goal is not to avoid failure. The goal is to get to the failure as quickly and cheaply as possible, so you can get the learning. This is a revolutionary idea for learning English. So many of us are like Ravi and T-shirt in the first story. We are in perfection prison. We think, I will study English for 3 years. I will learn every grammar rule. I will memorize 10,000 words. I will perfect my accent, practicing alone in my room. And then, when I am perfect, I will have a conversation. What is wrong with this? It is like building the app for 6 months, or a year, or 5 years, in secret. It is wasting time. You are building a product, your English, that you have never tested. You have no data. You have no customer feedback. What happens when you finally try to speak? After 5 years of perfect study, you will have a conversation with a native speaker. They will use a slang word you never learned. They will speak faster than your perfect audio lessons. They will ask you a question you don't know how to answer, and you will fail. It will be confusing. It will be scary. And you will feel terrible. You will feel like your 5 years were a waste. What is the fail-fast way to learn English? It is the T-shirt way. It is failing today. It is taking your paper drawing of English, your 100 words, your broken grammar, and testing it. How? By having a 1-minute conversation. By writing one comment. By listening to one song and trying to write down the words. You will fail. You will not understand. You will make mistakes. And that is wonderful, because you will get data. You will fail, and you will learn, wow, I did not understand that person. They speak really fast. I need to practice listening to fast speech. That is data. You will learn. I tried to tell a story about my weekend. I did not know the past tense word for bye. I will go learn that. That is data. You will learn, I tried to write a comment. I spelled beautiful wrong. I will write it down 10 times. That is data. To be afraid of failure is to be afraid of data. It is to be afraid of learning. The fail-fast mindset says, I want to find all my English weaknesses today, not in 5 years. I want to find them so I can fix them. Every mistake you make is a signpost. It is a big, friendly red arrow pointing and saying, learn this. This part is weak. Pay attention here. A perfect student who never tries to speak, never gets any signposts. They are lost in the forest with no map. The student who speaks and fails and makes mistakes. That student's map is covered in beautiful red arrows, showing them exactly where to go. So, let's make this practical. What is your paper drawing test? What is your 2-hour experiment? Here is a challenge. I want you to fail fast this week. Here are some ideas. 1. Record yourself on your phone. Speak in English for 1 minute. Just talk about your day. Then, listen to it. This will be difficult. You will hear all your mistakes. You will hear your accent. You will hear your uhs. This is the failure, but it is also the data. You will think, oh, I say a lot. I need to practice pausing instead. Or, I pronounced that word wrong. I will look it up. 2. Find a website for English learners, a forum. Write one short post. Ask one question. You will be afraid. My grammar is wrong. They will think I am stupid. This is your perfection prison. Post it anyway. Fail fast. Maybe you will make a grammar mistake, and maybe someone will correct you. And that is learning. You got a free lesson. You got data. You found a bug, and someone helped you fix it. 3. Put your favorite English television show on. Turn off the subtitles in your own language. Just use the English subtitles, or no subtitles at all. You will fail. You will be lost. You will miss 50% of the plot. That is okay. The goal is not to understand 100%. The goal is to practice. The goal is to train your ear. You are failing for 30 minutes, and your brain is getting stronger, faster, better. This is the new mindset. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your guide. It is your teacher. It is your data. And failing fast is just a way to learn more efficiently. We are not just okay with failure. We are smart about failure. We use failure. We seek out small, fast, cheap failures. so we can get the rich, valuable learning that comes from them. We have talked about so much. We talked about Maya and learning that failure is a teacher. We talked about Ben and learning that failure is data. We talked about Samuel and learning that failure is the price of courage. We talked about the imposter syndrome and learning to act even when we feel like a fraud. And now, with Ravi and T-shirt, we have learned that failure should be fast, so that our learning can also be fast. All of these stories, all of these ideas, they all point in one direction. The path to fluency, the path to success in any skill, is not built on a foundation of perfection. It is built on a foundation of burnt cakes, of error messages, of awkward speeches, of paper drawings. It is built on thousands of tiny, messy, uncomfortable, wonderful mistakes. Each one is a step. Each one is a lesson. Each one is proof that you are growing. So, when you leave this podcast today, I want you to change your goal. Your goal is no longer to not make mistakes. That is a bad goal. It is impossible. Your new goal is to learn something new from my next mistake. Your goal is to be a detective. Your goal is to fail fast. Your goal is to be brave, like Samuel, and walk into the room. Your goal is to be curious, like Ben, and figure out why it didn't work. Your goal is to be persistent, like Maya, and try again, just a little bit smarter this time. Thank you so much for joining me, Alex, here on English in Fluency. This has been a long session, a deep dive. If you have listened all the way to this point, you are already a successful learner. You have the patience. You have the dedication. Now, all you need is the courage to go out and fail. The courage to go out and learn. I will repeat my challenge from before, because now it has even more meaning. I want you to go to the comments. I want you to fail fast. I want you to write 1 or 2 sentences. Tell us your goal. What is one fast failure you are going to try this week? Are you going to record your voice? Are you going to write a post? Are you going to talk to a stranger? Share your plan. And when you do it, I want you to come back and tell us what you learned. We are a community of failers. We are a community of learners. Thank you for your time and your energy. Subscribe to the channel if you want more practices like this. And until next time, go out there, be brave, and make some wonderful, glorious, educational mistakes. I am cheering for you.